Throughout the past like 6-7 months, I've been working towards putting this documentary together. Even though if I'm sharing my life story, I don't want to just make it just about me. I want to be able to give, people a voice when it comes to speaking up about mental health awareness and struggles. That's why throughout this series, I'm not going to be the only one opening up. I've got a load of special guests involved as well. So throughout the series, you're going to be seeing a lot of amazing people from all sorts of life speak out about, what they've gone through, what they've struggled and how they've managed to get through those tough times. And the first guest I had to get involved more than anyone else is my boy Alfie Sajir, aka QuantumCaza.
So Alfie, thank you for coming to meet me. I appreciate that a lot. Honestly, you were the first person I wanted to have on this documentary for a very good reason. Not just because of the fact I know you, but also the fact that you know this subject better than anyone I know because of what you've gone through. And I'm really looking forward to speaking with you on this subject. So just gonna start things off basically with how we first met. So obviously 2019, I first met you. Do you remember where it was?
2019. That's a long time ago,
Only 2 years.
Listen, this time skip has been a bit shambolic, but we met at I believe it was the New Age tour.
Yeah, KSI Randolph New Age tour.
Yeah, like I can't say I remember listening to any of the music. I was focused on other things.
You're just there for the vibe, pretty much.
You can't say that.
Nah, it's fair enough. Yeah, because I remember we were in the line together and we first met, and from that point on, we've just got on well since.
We've actually just linked up with someone pretty cool. Tell people who you are.
What's up? The name's QuantumCaza, London's only coffee vlogger. So I've met everyone and I'm just familiar within the community.
No worries. Make sure you go and follow him on Instagram because he's got some mad stuff coming.
Thank you.
We've done content together. I was even on an episode of Coffee Chat with you, which I really enjoyed doing as well.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee Chat here at the Camden Coffee House. I'm joined by a special guest, BVIDZ.
How's it going, guys?
There was a lot of subjects that you've told me on a fair few occasions with what you've been through, just not like recent years, but your younger years as well. And I think one of the things you brought up a lot was PTSD. Do you want to explain a bit better on that?
I got diagnosed with PTSD when I was just about, when I was 15, I believe, because my school thought I was on the spectrum, but I wasn't, and they basically put me through the whole system of getting tests and everything, and I got diagnosed with PTSD and multiple mental health diagnostics, which at the time was fine because it never affected me. Then I think when I returned when I was 18, I think, my PTSD and mental health just turned for the worst with being overweight and everything just collapsing into each other. It was just super fucking overwhelming. It was a lot, and only as I've gone older, I've had a deeper understanding of PTSD and the complex of the complexness. It's that ain't a word. If it is, just
sounds perfect to me, buddy.
There's many different elements to why I wanted to do this in the first place. It was a mix of wanting to have a better understanding about mental health awareness, a better understanding for myself, but also I wanted to use my platform to do something positive. I've been known for filming amazing videos to look back on, and I've made some amazing memories with some great people, but I wanted to do something more. I wanted to do something more with my channel, rather than just making everything about me living my life to the fullest, because for many years I didn't do that. I didn't get as much out of life as I wanted to. I feel like a lot of it was, I'd say, out of my control. But rather than just, sharing my story, I want to be able to, help anyone who's either gone through the same or similar to what I have done. And that's the reason why I've started doing this documentary. And I really hope I can help as many people as I possibly can, because mental health awareness is not something to be slept on at all.
So obviously you say at the age of 15 you were diagnosed with PTSD.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of stemmed it, or what kind of started for you?
Basically, I got horrifically bullied in school. I ended up coming home with broken ribs, nose, arms, everything. I got pinned down in primary school, held down while they stamped on my downstairs area. And at the same time, I was getting picked on by the local gangs. There was knife crime was a big thing when I was younger. Local gangs. There was local gangs in each street. They kind of patrolled the areas, chasing people with samurais and stuff. And it all kind of had this domino effect. There was the bullying in school and out of school. And then there was domestic violence at home, which wasn't really fun. I had that since I was 5 years. When I was 5 years old, I remember everything.
So one thing just kept on mounting on top of each other.
Part of my diagnostic is I don't emit emotions well. So over the years it just built up and built up, and it just left me feeling very, I don't want to say insecure, but alert. Ready for anything. The flashbacks of things, it just when people think PTSD, they think, oh, PTSD, flashbacks, but it's on such a deeper level. I've learned to control my PTSD to the extent where I let my flashbacks flow now. But when I'm in the zone, no one can interrupt me, because it will mess up the whole vibe. At times, I go back to there was times when I got chased out of my own secondary school from being bullied by a vast majority of the year. And then there was my younger sister came to help me, and we had to run through the back of a church to get away from them all. It's stuff like this, it just kind of plays on my mind, and the reason why I joke about my height and everything all the time is I wasn't tall when I was younger. I was small, chubby, overweight. I got picked on because I didn't fight back. And now that I'm bigger than everyone, I hold that, because I went through a lot, and in my eyes I deserve my height because of where I've come from.
So would you say with the usual jokes they make about the height, because obviously you say that I'm 4 foot something a lot of the time, which I know you mean the jokes. Would you say when you make those jokes, would you say it's kind of a security blanket mentally kind of thing, or is it just
100%? One of my biggest insecurities is my height. I don't like being tall. I don't like people noticing me. I like to be in the background. I don't like being the biggest fucker in the room, because everyone sees me. But at the end of the day, it's what my genetics have given me. I'm tall. They're just some highlights of my life. I've lost friends at a young age to knife crime. There's things I've seen that if most people hear what I've seen, they won't sleep at night. They'll be haunted for the rest of their life. But I just keep moving forward. The future is uncharted waters, and I like a challenge. So I don't know if it's me with my PTSD, if it's a blessing or a curse. There are some dark days, but at the same time, I like the challenge of my PTSD, because it just gives me something to keep on going. Like a kick up the arse. You know what I mean? Oh, you're sleeping in today. No, get up. Something like that.
So, where did it all start when it comes to struggling mentally?
I'd say struggling mentally started from a young age. I'd say it started from when I was officially diagnosed on the autistic spectrum. I was 5 when I got diagnosed. Asperger's syndrome, ADHD. I suppose I look at life differently compared to what I say normal people would look at life. I'd say I'm a little bit more socially anxious. I think it takes a little bit longer for me to understand certain aspects of life. It's a little bit complicated to, explain it. There was a lot of aspects to why I struggled from a young age, and autism was a big part of it.
There's someone called John. I was at a photo battle because I did photography in college. I enjoyed taking pictures, and I was talking with him when I was with James and Amari, and I was saying something, and he was like, "Hold up, don't let your past define your future." And I was like, right. I wanted to say something, but I didn't, because it's so simple yet effective. My past has always bited me in my arse. I need to stop allowing that. I need to just focus on the future, and that is what essentially needs to be done.
I know that he's had a tough childhood himself, but I wanted to be able to get more of a better understanding about it. So that's why I arranged to meet up with him and just pretty much get a better idea of what went on and how he managed to get through those times. So yeah, Alfie, he had to be the first person I had to speak to. Next person I called up on was another good mate of mine who's not really involved in the YouTube scene, but he has so much potential in the music industry, and it's my boy Kyst Cortez.
So, I'm here with Kyst Cortez. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I'm good.
I'm really stoked to have you here.
My brother.
Really stoked to have you here.
Nah, thanks for having me.
So, so this is the first time you say you're coming into an interview blind.
Yeah, literally. No, I obviously you've told me what it's kind of about, but it's the first interview that I've done that's kind of like I don't know what questions you're asking. So.
Nah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You've got a massive love for music. So, tell me where your love for music came from, honestly.
So my love for, I've always loved music. I've always loved listening to music. I can't go a day without listening to music. I've got to listen to it constantly. But I started writing poetry and spoken word because I couldn't talk to people about how I was feeling. So it was like a way that I could just get myself out in it. And from that, it kind of developed into actual hip hop and that. So going into hip hop, and then from there developed more and more and more into what I'm doing today.
Oh, fantastic! So, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I heard this one time.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure you said something about being adopted when you were younger.
Yep.
Like, is it okay if you?
Yeah, of course. So I basically got put into care when I was 5. Into foster care. Luckily, I had the same foster family the whole time. I got put into care. I got adopted when I was 7. So moved from Middlesbrough down here, and then it's all been up from there really. Just I was really lucky in being adopted and being taken away from the bad environment that I was in, the very toxic environment I was into the environment that I'm in now, which was lucky.
What kind of struggles did you go through with the previous environment you were in?
So, mum being heavily addicted to drugs and everything, dad being, as I've told you before, was not a nice person in, the stuff that he was doing towards people and all this kind of stuff. He was obviously in jail. So it just was it's not a good environment for a kid to be growing up in. Some of the stuff that I've seen, some of the stuff that I've been through, isn't stuff that any kid should see or have to go through.
No, not at all. Was there like any further struggles you went through in like your younger years that really had like a big impact on you?
So I think all of it's kind of had a big impact in creating who I am as a person and the stuff that I've gone through. Obviously being in therapy and all this, I've spoken about it a lot in where the issues that I face today have come from, and obviously it's all the stuff I went through back then had a residual impact on my mental health nowadays, I guess. So it's just all of it really, from seeing, it sounds proper deep, but like even from seeing stuff like my mum overdose and all that when I was like 3, all this, obviously has lasting effects on you as a person and stuff. I guess how I interact with people and how I create relationships with people has had impacts on it.
I struggled to socialise with people in many ways. That's why I didn't really have any friends growing up. It was, I just found life really hard to understand, and especially with the family struggles I've gone through also.
Were you offered any help?
From young age, I didn't really get much help because mental health wasn't really understood from like the early 2000s and the late 90s. It wasn't really a subject that was talked about at the time.
Is there any like artists in particular that like really inspire you on a daily basis? Any names?
So I take influence and inspiration from all different aspects of music and everything. Obviously people like, so originally there's a guy called Mike Righteous who was a big inspiration to me because the way he wrote everything and the way he got out how he was feeling into music was like, yo, I can do this. Him, you know, it's a bit of a controversial one, but XXXTentacion for me was a big inspiration in, you know, some of the stuff that he wrote and everything, and how he was, you know, people labelled him a rapper and this kind of stuff, but he made a lot of like just acoustic music and everything. And I love making all different kinds of music, so he kind of taught me that you don't just have to stick to one avenue, you can experiment in loads of different ones and do loads of different stuff. Yeah. So they're two of my main inspirations, I believe. And I think a lot of the lyrics that I write is, I always say like, if you ask me how I'm doing, I'll tell you I'm fine. But if you listen to my music, you'd know that's not always the case. A lot of the lyrics that I write in my music are quite morbid at times, but that's just my way of kind of getting it out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's understandable. And if I'm not mistaken, you've recently released a new single. Do you want to tell which one it is?
Yeah, so it comes out on Friday. Comes out on Friday the 24th. Did We Dirty comes out. It's the first kind of, well, it's not the first kind of singing kind of one, but you know, the first strictly singing one, I'd say, that I'm putting out. It's all about, you know, being done dirty by someone. You know, it's that whole someone's done you wrong, and I'm not forgetting it.
You did me dirty in a way that I forget. I bet myself up, I thought you again, I grip. Yeah, we bring the beef like a big man, and tell your brother that he ain't gonna get his bitch back.
You know, it's not something I can let go that easily. It's not something I don't hold grudges per se, but again, it's my way of getting it out. I'm not gonna tell people, oh, do you know what? It really upset me how someone's done me dirty like this, but in my music, I'll say that.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Because I think still to this day, I use music as a way of expressing, and everyone uses it as a way of expressing themselves, really.
So how was it once you were diagnosed at school, trying to talk to people and make friends there?
Yeah, socialising during my school times was a very big struggle for me because people didn't really understand me. They just looked at me as an easy target, and I suppose I've always been an easy target in my life, as well as not just school, but just as well as everyday life in general.
Why do you think you're such an easy target to many people?
One word: vulnerability. I'm just easily vulnerable. It's just me naturally. I'm just naturally a vulnerable person, and it's not something that can be helped. But I wouldn't say I'm as vulnerable as I used to be, but if someone walked and saw me across the street many years back and they looked at me, people know they can mess with me easily and they'd be able to just do whatever. I mean, bullying in a nutshell was something I really struggled with.
I'd say one thing that I've experienced a few times recently last year, I don't know if you've experienced it as well, online trolls. Have you had any problems with that?
Yeah. It's ironic because when you start out, the people that hate, the only people that you really get that are haters at first are people from your hometown. People that knew you before or whatever, people that see you doing well or whatever and go, and it's the jealousy thing. They go, he was the same point in his life as me at one point and now he's not. why is that? And people hate what they don't understand. So that's why you get a lot of people hating you for that. And I've had it myself. I get people going, oh, he's not like that, he's not that guy, whatever, blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff, or spreading all different kinds of stuff. And I get people that once knew me that go, oh yeah, I don't like him, he thinks he's some big shot now and all this. And I go, I don't pay any attention to it personally. Because if you let people like that get to you, as you grow, it's only going to grow with it. That's part and parcel of, being in the public eye, if you will.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate these days with like how our generation is getting more ridiculed with negativity over positivity.
For sure, it's because there's no consequences to it now. There's so much anonymity of it all. You can create some fake account online, and and no one knows who you are, and you can send the most hateful messages to someone and get away with it. There's no back before, if you something like that, you'd get smacked for, and now there's none of that. So I think that's why people are getting a lot braver online, and it's sad to see. It genuinely is.
It is genuinely shocking. It
fully is, because some of the messages that people get and everything are disgusting. And I get a lot of racism online. I get a lot of racist messages and all this kind of stuff. But I think that partially comes with speaking out about stuff.
Yeah.
You get a lot of, if you make yourself an advocate for, these anti-racism and that, people are obviously going to pick you to be, to target and all that, and that comes with it, obviously. But there's two ways you can look at it. You can either let it get to you, and that's when it starts affecting you, or you can go, do you know what? People are always going to have their say. You can't please everyone. You can spend your time hating on these people that are being negative towards you, or you can go, I'm just going to block it out, and the best thing you can do is go and do well. That's the best thing you can do, because they hate that even more.
Yeah, honestly, success is definitely the best revenge.
100%. 100%.
I genuinely feel you could be a genuine face of the future of music.
Yeah.
I genuinely respect, like, not just the music that you produce, but your humbleness as well. And like, when we first met and kept in contact, that's why I wanted to stay in contact. I really respect what you stand for.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And it's jokes, because we can look back on this in however many years, once I've fully made it, and go, we predicted it, because simply for the fact that it's a bit of a weird one, because I have no doubt in my mind I'm going to make it. At all. And it's not because I'm not humble or anything, it's because I know for a fact that I'm not going to stop working until I make it. There's no chance, because for me to have even a doubt in my mind that I'm not going to make it means there's part of me that believes that I'm not going to put the effort in. And I know that's not the case. I know for a fact that I'm going to put the work in until I get to that point. I've got people relying on me. My dad's I've just had another baby brother the other day. Shout out Hudson, my G. But that's just another reason that I've got to, I don't want my mum and dad to be working when I'm, when they're 80 or 70 and all this kind of stuff. My mum has such a tremendous workload, social workers in today's climate are so swamped with how many cases they've got and everything. And she's working till 9 o'clock every night, all this kind of stuff. And it's horrible to see. And so I know for a fact I'm not going to stop working until I get to the point I can retire her, until I can retire my dad, till none of my family ever have to work again, till everyone's good, till everyone around me is living comfortably in life.
I'm really looking forward to seeing that happen, and I have no element of doubt whatsoever. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what the future holds for you, honestly. And thank you so much for taking the time today.
Anytime, man.
Honestly,
honestly.
You seriously inspire me.
No, genuinely, I appreciate that, man. Honestly, it means a lot. It means a lot, man.
Kyst is such a wholesome human being. When I first met him at a gathering when restrictions were taken down, I met him at this little get-together at my mate's house. He's an MC, he's a rapper, I think he does a little bit of DJing here and there. He recently went on tour with Mr. Traumatic, and he's just so genuine, and I said I wanted to do some more stuff with him eventually, and I thought he'd be perfect to talk to. I know he's had some struggles of his own as well, so I wanted to get more of an understanding of what he went through throughout his time and where his inspiration of being a musician came from.
Thank you so much for watching the first episode of Progress. It really does mean a lot to me. The second episode is coming up in just a few moments' time if you are watching this on a playlist. If not, the second and third episodes will be available to view anytime, any place, for free on this channel. And whilst I'm quickly here, I want to let you know about a fundraiser that I have set up. Prior to the release of this documentary, I want to raise as much money as possible for Young Minds. Young Minds is a mental health charity that helps people with everyday struggles through depression, anxiety, PTSD, all sorts of mental problems. And that's why I have set up a fundraiser to hopefully raise as much money as possible. I have set a goal for £500. If you want to donate towards the fundraiser, feel free to. It is in the description below. The fundraiser is open until the end of August 2022. Other than that, guys, I hope you continue to enjoy the series.